call us community. This has been a time when we have really been able to see that Temple Israel is different than we had ever imagined it could be. And while there are so many fears that we have found that actually we have had a remarkable year. So this afternoon, we are here to review everything that has happened in this past year, to say thank you and goodbye to some of our board members, and to bring on a new board. And so thank you for being with us, and I'll turn it back to Louise for a little bit more.
There we go. Thank you, Rabbi Amy. Seeing that a quorum is present, I hereby call the 135th annual meeting of Congregation Temple Israel to order. The minutes of the 134th annual meeting are on page 4 in the December dateline, the annual report. I put a link to that in the chat for those who would like to look at the written report. I would now like to ask for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve them as written. I see Sarah makes the motion and Neil Margulis seconds it. Are there any questions or modifications? Great. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Wonderful. The minutes are approved as written. This time, hold on, I'm going to share my screen for a second. Okay. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the outgoing members of the board and of the executive committee. Excuse me. These 12 members have given of their time and their energy for the betterment of Temple Israel. Fortunately, we don't have to pay them, for our budgets would not be able to afford the talents that they bring to us on a daily basis. For their service, they've each received a citation for religious leadership. I cannot begin to capture the gratitude I feel, but just want to say thank you, Todah Rabbah, and I would hope that we will continue to access their talents, and I hope you will continue to be involved at a committee level, on a family level, or on an individual level. So I say once again, thank you. We recognize the following outgoing board members and officers of the congregation: Julie Fullman, Richard Greenberg, Kathy Goldsticker, Adele Lewis, Judy Lewis, Darcy Scharf, Eric Spiritus, Michelle Steinberg, Jeremy Shook, and Jeffrey Stern. Not pictured here are Alan Epstein, who is an outgoing member of the executive committee, but will begin a 3-year term on the board, and Joanne Levy, who's also an outgoing member of the executive committee, but remains a member of the board as a past president. Stop my sharing. So the bylaws of Congregation Temple Israel state that, quote, "There shall be held annually on such a day and at such a place as the Board of Trustees may determine, a meeting of the members of the congregation." Further, the bylaws pre-state the agenda for said meeting, and one of the main components is the president's annual report. This is now that report. 2021 has been a challenging yet extremely rewarding year. Our congregation, our professional leadership, our lay leadership, all have taken what the world has thrown at us and made it work. And more than that, has made it thrive. The latest edition of the Dateline, the annual report, you may read my annual report to the congregation. In it, I discuss the creation and the beginning implementation of our strategic plan. I encourage all here today, or all who may watch later, to read the Dateline. The Strategic Planning Task Force and Board worked on this plan from just before the pandemic hit through these last 2 years, and I'm excited by where we are headed. The 4 pillars: engagement, philanthropy, youth programs, DECC families, that we have instituted, and the work that they have already done is sensational. We would love to expand committee membership, invite all of those who are interested to let us know, and we will connect you with a group working with the same mission and purpose that you are. I would also like to highlight some of the people and workings of TI this past year. In May, we began our slow reopening with the reintroduction of in-person services. I don't think any of us anticipated how emotional and powerful that first Shabbat would be.
You want this on the big TV.
I don't need it.
Our reopening task force, who had set this date, continued to meet and adjust our protocols throughout the spring, summer, and fall. In October, the committee set December 1st as the date at which we would no longer limit attendance at congregational events. This decision was made prior to the reports of the most recent variation, which illuminates why the task force will continue to monitor the ongoing situation and adjust as needed. We thank everyone for their flexibility and willingness to comply throughout this process. I appreciate all the families impacted by the limitations, b'nai mitzvots, weddings, funerals, etc., for working with us throughout these difficult years. Though we are lifting the limitations on attendance, our mask requirement remains in place, as does our request to RSVP for any events you wish to attend. Our programming has continued to thrive and evolve. From online classes such as Talmud on Training Wheels to in-person programming, Bon Baruch, or Whiskey and Wisdom, our religious school finished up a year of online learning and started this fall with in-person sessions. Just a few weeks ago, we delivered close to 500 Thanksgiving meals to those in need. The Thanksgiving dinner is a great example of lay leadership working with the professional staff to ensure that programs we believe in can adapt and evolve and thrive. Our congregants found ways new and old to continue to make a difference. The work of the Thanksgiving Committee, the ongoing work of our Monroe School Group, and the like have continued to find ways to make a difference in the lives of others. New work has also started. In the summer of 2020, a group of congregants came together and created the Task Force for Social Justice and Equity. This group has created learning opportunities, social action opportunities, and a forum to help our congregation wrestle and confront issues of racism, equity, and social justice as they appear and or affect our community and our congregation. Their work has been expansive and thoughtful. I've been moved and impressed by how quickly and effectively this group has acted. Using our core values and inspired by Reform Judaism, we look forward to seeing and participating in the work they continue to do. Financially, we end this year in a strong fiscal place. Thanks to the oversight of our Finance Committee and the work of our professional staff, we have remained whole throughout this pandemic. The PPP loans, 1 and 2, have given us the breathing room to do what we continue to do. And I am grateful for the work of our finance team for staying on top of the situation and often ahead of the game. My report would not be complete with an update on the Reimagining Campaign. In the summer of 2017, we began phase 1 of the revitalization of our education building. In January 2022, we will bring to close the Reimagining Campaign. This moment, we have raised over $7 million to renovate and upgrade the Deutsch Family Education Building. I am in awe of all the work that has been done by our Reimagining co-chairs, by our education leaders, and by our facilities committee. As anyone who owns a home knows, updating a home repairs never truly end. But when a project is complete, you can take a step back and smile. As I stated in my Rosh Hashanah address, there is still work to be done, but what has already occurred is impressive. Finally, a brief note on the state of our congregation. This past calendar year, 2021, a year in which a pandemic continued to ravish our world, a year in which only within the past weeks could the youngest amongst us obtain vaccination, a year in which many, if not most of us, to stay safe, still limited where we went and what we did. In this year, we have added 54 new member families. To put that into context, each month the board receives a report on how many member families we have, how many resignations, how many additions, and a running count is kept for the year. The report we received goes back to 2017. 2021's addition is almost 50% higher than any year in the past 5. The closest was 37 families in 2019. I believe this number represents the strength of our congregation, our rabbis, our professional leadership, our early childhood center, and the work that each and all of us do in representing our congregation. I am proud of where I worship, where I spend my volunteer time. I believe in our mission. I love our core values. I love that we use our core values to determine our actions, to define what we believe. I am proud to be the 36th president of this congregation. I would once again express my thanks to the members of our board, the members of the executive committee, and to our past presidents. I know a few organizations that has the depth of talent, not only as part of the organization, but more importantly, willing to share their talents with us. I would like to thank our professional staff. Our strength comes from the backbone you create. Led by Executive Director Rachel Andreasen, we can do what we do because we can rely on all of you. And finally, our rabbis, Rabbi Amy and Rabbi Michael. We talk of our family of rabbis, and that has never been more true than during this pandemic. Thank you for your leadership, your guidance, your sense of humor. Thank you for being there for all of us each day and every year. At this time, I'm going to call upon Rob Litz, our immediate past president and the chair of the nominating committee, to give the nominating committee report.
Louise, thanks very much. And thank you for your service during this these trying past months. You've been fabulous. It's my pleasure as the chair of the Nominating Committee to present the slate of officers for next year's board. Louise Losses as president, David Chasen as VP of Facilities, Neil Margulis as VP of Membership, Roy Hendon, Vice President Governance, Amy Knobloch Hahn, Vice President Social Action, Sarah Falkoff, Vice President Education, Brad Arce, Treasurer, Phil Horowitz, we welcome as the Secretary to the Executive Committee. Mike Weiss is taking a new position as Assistant Treasurer on the Executive Committee. Jeff Brown as a member at large, and we're welcoming back David Weinstein as a member at large to the Executive Committee. For the nominations for a second three-year term, Amy Cohen, Wayne Kaufman, Amy Lampert, Steve Rosenblum, and Debbie Schultz. It's also my pleasure to welcome two new members to our board. Both will be serving a three-year term. Karina Gabrielson is joining us. As some of you hopefully know, Karina is Global Head of Tax at Energizer. Jerry Tomachek is joining the board as an associate attorney at the Hush firm. Jerry was part of the class that we had just a year ago, our leadership development course, Leading with a Jewish Heart. We welcome both of them to the board, and we look forward to them serving and helping us as we go down the next path. I call for a motion to approve this slate of officers and trustees for 2022. And Louise, I cannot see other than just a few, so I'm gonna need some help.
All right. Liz Weinstein has made a motion and Adele Lewis has seconded.
Very good. All those in favor of approving this slate of members of the trustees and officers for 2022? Any opposed? Any abstaining? Congratulations and welcome as members and continuing members of the Board of Trustees and officers. Thank you, Louise.
Rabbis, I turn to you. I'm looking to try and get rid of this, but I turn to you for the installation and blessing.
We are gathered here this afternoon to acknowledge all of our leadership, to express our appreciation for our outgoing board members who have put in countless hours of work in building this community, and to welcome new board members. The Talmud Yerushalmi teaches that one who engages in the needs of the community is as one who studies Torah. Our leaders enable this holy community to carry on its work, to be a sanctuary for each of us as we move through the moments of celebration and loss in our lives, to be a community that spreads our light like the Hanukkah menorah into the world.
We ask your blessings, O God, upon those who've been elected to lead and serve our congregation. As they perform their duties, keep them ever mindful of the high purposes to which they and we are dedicated. Help them to be faithful heirs to those who have preceded us and worthy predecessors of those who will yet follow. May their actions reflect strength and wisdom and bear testimony to the great heritage which they represent. As our newly elected officers strive to achieve their goals, may they help to keep us too faithful to our tasks. Grant our leaders strength when they are weary, hope when they are discouraged, patience and perseverance when they face any obstacle. Bless them and those dear to them with health of body, vigor of mind, and serenity of spirit. May their labors reflect honor upon our congregation and upon our people, and may they thus bring glory, God, to your holy name. And we say together, Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, rabbis. Thank you all for being here in attendance today. I am looking for a motion to adjourn. I see Sally Heller made a motion. I need a second. Thank you, Michael Weiss. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for being here. Happy Hanukkah to all.
Where do we go to eat?
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Happy Hanukkah.